Blockbusters. You are listening to the Triple B Podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome to another episode of the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters, episode 5.
Episode 5.
All right. Please follow our socials at Triple B Podcast on Instagram, or at Triple B Pod, YouTube at Triple B Pod, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We are also available. Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. We also added X, formerly known as Twitter, and that's at Triple B Pod Bros.
Yes.
So this week, we're kind of switching it up. We are going to, we're announcing that we are going to a weekly show. We are, instead of bi-weekly, we're going to go to a weekly show. Hopefully that shortens up the episodes a little bit. For you listeners
we're
out
working
there.
on it.
But that's going to bring in a new twist to our bourbon section. So,
Yes.
Ryan, you want to talk on
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. So, for those of you that don't know, as I would call ourselves somewhat amateur bourbon connoisseurs.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's part of what we're doing this whole thing for, is to introduce ourselves to new and different bourbons, whether it's new to both of us or just one of us, whatever. But that also being said, that shit is expensive.
Yes, it is.
So we thought if we're going to weekly, it is not realistic financially for either of us right now to be able to just alternate, buy a brand new bottle of bourbon. And we're trying to the stuff that we're doing is also, we're not it's not bottom shelf. We're not spending $12 on a bottle of bourbon for this. We're trying to introduce new good bourbons to ourselves.
Although the thought has crossed my mind.
Absolutely. Jim Beam honey, cool. Black velvet, all right, let's go. No, but we're, the idea of going to weekly, we can't, it's a little bit more difficult for us to be able to just do a brand new bottle of bourbon every week. Plus, that would mean that we have these other bottles sitting around for an extended period of time, too. So, what we thought would be interesting, and what you might be able to see just kind of already sitting here in our glasses, typically we start the show, we would talk for a second, and then we break out the bottle of bourbon, and we pour it. What we're going to be doing now is using the bottle from last week's episode to just be a little more efficient. To, instead of a bourbon of the week, it'll be essentially now every other episode, it's going to be a cocktail of the week. At least for the beginning points, most of the cocktails are probably going to be coming from me. Yeah. I have a history and an experience in bartending and whatnot, and I enjoy making them. So, and I also enjoy having people try them. So, that's where we're at.
For reminders, we used Bond Brothers bourbon last week. It was created by two actors, Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley. So that is going to be the bourbon we're using in these cocktails. So
I'm super excited for this because based off our 8 to 8.5, I believe, ranking that we gave the Bond Brothers bourbon last week, I think this is going to be really good with the cocktail that I decided to make this week, and I'm super excited for you to try it because I was actually, a few months ago, I believe, for WrestleMania, when I came over. I had come over, we had talked about me bringing, usually when I come over for shows like that, I bring a couple things and we make some cocktails. Yeah. We just throw some stuff out there. And my lovely wife, Lindsay, got me this bourbon cocktail book. I don't remember if it was for my birthday last year or for Christmas, but regardless, she got me this book, and has, page after page after page of different bourbon cocktails. And it's all specifically bourbon, which fits perfectly with what we're doing, because that's our favorite. And so I was going to bring the stuff to make this along with the other two cocktails that we did make, but I forgot the fucking mint for this, which when you guys hear what the ingredients to this are, makes sense as to why we couldn't make it then. So I'm excited to show this to you. I'm excited for you to try this and see how it is, and especially paired with this specific bourbon that we had last week.
Yeah.
So the cocktail of the week this week is a mint julep.
I've never had a mint julep before.
And that makes me even more excited because
so.
I had never had it before I tried it when I was trying recipes out of this book. It's super good.
All right.
I really enjoy it. It was one of my favorites that I've had cocktail-wise with bourbon. Like, typically I don't drink cocktails that much. I just drink bourbon on the rocks.
Yeah.
Or, like, Coors Light. Right? Like, I don't usually drink a lot of cocktails. So when I do, I enjoy a really nice one, and I think that's what this is. So what goes into a mint julep?
I was gonna just ask what goes into this.
Yeah, so it is a bourbon of your choice.
Okay.
And then it's very simple. It is simple syrup, which is essentially just water and sugar reduced.
Okay.
And then mint, fresh mint.
Okay.
That's it. You ice, simple syrup, mint. You muddle the mint with the simple syrup to get the flavors of the mint all expressed and whatnot. And then you can stir it if you want, kind of like a martini-esque, right? Like when you think like martini, I want a martini stirred, not shaken, or shaken, not stirred,
Gotcha.
Whatever. Same idea. I decided, because I like it a little more, it cools it down on top of us then pouring it over the nice ice cube. But it also, I feel like it kind of blends the flavors of everything a little bit better. I then poured the bourbon into the shaker, and I shook the living shit out of it. You watched me do it. So, in the future, we are going to attempt to try to get me making the cocktails actually on camera and a part of the actual show, as opposed to just explaining it.
Yeah.
This is our first time doing it. We didn't quite think through the setup to do that beforehand. So, but yeah, I'm excited to try it with this bourbon. Like I said, I've had one before. You have not. So let's. And we'll rank the cocktails too.
Yeah, let's
like we usually do the
cocktails.
So first off, cheers to episode number 5, brother.
Cheers to episode 5, and here's to a mint julep.
Mint julep, let's do it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not setting that down yet.
Wow, so
God
refreshing.
Damn. Oh my lord. That really is like the perfect like summer.
I was gonna say
drink.
Summer bourbon drink.
I don't know about you. I don't know your palate when it comes to bourbon and like a hot day. I'm not usually one to like, if it's like a super hot day, like I'm drinking one of two things. Mm-hmm. I'm drinking light beer, right? And I'll probably mix it with Bloody Mary mix.
Okay.
It's just my thing. Or I'm drinking a gin and tonic.
I love a good gin and tonic.
Yeah, and like on a hot day, it's super refreshing. Like that's probably what I'm going to. I'm not doing a whole lot of bourbon intaking on a hot summer day, but that shit could change that for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a vodka tonic during the summer, but no. Instant thought was hot day. What are you gonna drink? This guys. We got the summer months ahead.
We do.
Pick up a mint julep, guys.
Right at the end of June, right now, and
all right.
Wow. That is rank it. What do you think?
Yeah.
I want to get your ranking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
This
with.
is new to you.
I'm gonna go with a 9. I'm not even a mint person. Mojitos are not really my thing.
Okay.
But this,
I didn't know that. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have probably second guessed making this cocktail then.
But I'll give it a 9 because you hit it right on the point. It just reminds me of a summer day.
Yeah.
What's gonna cool you down? Mint julep, my friends.
Yeah.
All right. What about you?
I'm right there with you. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with a 9.
How do you think it paired with the Bond Brothers bourbon?
Personally, I think that was so good. We talked last week about, I think I specifically said how, like, right off the bat, it was like, oh, that's sweet. Like, that was a sweet bourbon. Like, it's not, like, overpowering. Like, like a BSB or like a the peanut butter, screwball, right? Like those are good. I like those for what they are, but those are more of like a dessert bourbon to me, where I'm like, I'll drink like a finger, and that's all I can have because it's so sweet. Yeah, but they're super good. Where the Bond Brothers one from last week, which is what we used in this, it was like, oh wow, that's a bourbon. Like that's a bourbon that I can drink on the rocks and I can enjoy that, but has a very sweet upfront kick to it. Yeah. So I already when I was thinking about crafting this, I knew that I thought it was gonna pair well, and it sure as hell did.
It sure as hell did. Let's get one more cheers into that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, holy hell.
This is a flavor that I am down with.
Well, I just just want to talk about, I know we talk about it a lot, how excited we are to doing the podcast, but just thinking about we get in a routine in life, and it's, you wake up, go to work, in your case, take care of the baby, you just get in this routine, and it's not a bad thing all the time, it's not a bad thing, but I think this podcast has just kind of awoken something, put excitement in my life. It's not just doing the work routine. It's not coming home and cleaning the house, taking care of dogs or anything. It's added another level, and I'm really excited about it. I think about the podcast a lot. I text you a lot on, what can we do next? It's just an exciting time in my life, at least, adding a new positive wrinkle and getting me out of just the normal routine, and I think that's been awesome.
Yeah, man, I agree for sure. It's been something that it's like, I think the best part about it is it has been a big addition to my life with very little change. Yeah, if that makes sense. And I'll expand on that. What I mean is, I'm still doing the same shit I've always done. I'm constantly reading about all the new movie stuff. Yeah, I'm watching. I have increased my wrestling intake. Yeah, because of this, very happily. But and we've alluded to on here, the movies, the blockbusters portion of this is kind of my forte. Yeah. That's a little bit more of my wheelhouse. And like I said, I'm getting back much more into the wrestling because of it. But with the movie side, it's like I've always had my resources. I've always had the stuff that I'm like. I sit on the toilet, as most of us do, and I have my phone.
What's taking you so long in there?
yeah, right. And it's every time. And anytime I'm like, I think I got to use the restroom. Lindsay's like, please don't take your phone in there right now. I need you. We have a daughter. We got to take care of. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I won't. But there's but realistically, there are certain things and certain points in the day where you find yourself scrolling or researching things and looking and reading at articles. And for a lot of people in the world, while you're sitting on the john is one of those points, right? And for me, whether I'm on the john or not, and when I'm reading about things, like that's always been what I've done. I'm constantly reading about movies. I'm reading about news about them, especially the specific franchises that I care most about. Yeah. But I'm always just like, I'm seeing new content, I'm figuring out new things, I'm seeing rumors, I'm reading about theories and all sorts of different stuff, and it's like, all this has done is just brought a whole new level of purpose and meaning behind it, because now it's like now we have a platform where I can actually fucking talk about this shit. Exactly. I'm not just like, hey babe, look what I just read, and she's looking at me like, cool, because she doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about, with no nothing against my wife doing that. That's not her world. Yeah. Right. And so it's like, we have a platform now with similar interests, where we can talk about shit like this, and it just makes it a lot more, I think, enjoyable. I think it makes it a lot more kind of gives us a little bit more of a fire to do it.
Yeah.
And to make sure that we're like, now it's no longer just me like scrolling and reading about things, being like, oh shit, and then like texting you or Nathan or whatever and be like, yo dude, did you see that? Now it's like I'm writing shit down. Like I have like a notepad with me most places I go now. And I'm like writing things down, or I have an app in my phone if I don't have my notepad to add into it, because I'm like, I gotta throw that on the our agenda for what we're gonna talk about the next episode, because like that's like, this is good information or good talking points for us. So it really has added a whole new fucking just level of excitement on top of my already like crazy exciting experiences in life going on right now with being a new dad and everything. Like it's just added a whole other layer, which is separate from work. It's separate from family life. It's its own kind of entity of a thing, which I think is super important, you know. It's I think it's a really good thing for like me and you both to be able to have our own things separate of our family lives and our work lives and everything, be able to kind of come to on a regular basis now, hopefully weekly, and pushing it and just seeing what the fuck we can do with it. And
absolutely,
you know,
I think it also gives a whole reason to watch all these movies that you can see here. You know, it's not just to collect them, but just, you know, hey, you know, we got a new Fast and Furious coming out. Fast and Furious 100's coming out. Let's rewatch them all and talk about them. But then also, it's, I think we started this as a right time. It's, we've alluded to it a million times, but a new era in WWE. It's been exciting to talk about it. It reminds me of growing up and going, did you watch Raw last night? You know, but we got to do this on a podcast now.
And to build off of that, it's a realistically, it is kind of a new era in cinema as well, because you have post-COVID, and then not only post-COVID, but now you have post the new settings and era of strikes that have happened, and we're in a world right now where like arguably some of our favorite like franchises are battling a like fatigue of sorts, right? Like the superhero genre is fighting right now to try to stay relevant, because it's been a certain thing for the last
like you alluded
13
to
years.
Or what we alluded to in the last episode, it gives a chance for a new genre. Video game movies adaptations are starting to take off now, and so it's an exciting time for Blockbusters. It's a totally different. We used to go to the theaters all the time. Now you can just watch it a week later, almost essentially streaming
in certain cases. For sure.
So it kind of takes away from that movie theater experience, but we've already done it once.
We're gonna since we started this. We're gonna keep doing it, and I think that's one thing about you and me that is, it's very important to us to keep the thrill and the excitement and the nostalgia factor of going and the experience of going to the theater. Walking in with your, you know, showing your ticket. Going to the concessions, getting the popcorn or the pretzel or the soda or candy or whatever the heck floats your boat, and going up, finding your seat, sitting down, enjoying the little pre-time when it's like, it's not the commercials, it's not like the trailers for movies yet, but it's just like the random bullshit that they play, where you're kind of bullshitting back and forth, and then the trailers start, and I don't know about you, but and Lindsay's always like, they're just commercials. I'm like, I have to see them.
I want to see them.
We have to get there now.
I say the same thing to Haley.
I'm just like, because
it's part of the movie.
And again, it's no fault of hers. It's just not like it's not her world. Right. She doesn't care about it as much as I do, which she doesn't need to. She doesn't have to. This is not her thing. This is my thing. And so getting to the movies to watch the trailers for it is. That's a part of the experience for me, right? And then watching the movies, and then for certain cases, waiting until after the credits
The
roll.
post-credit scenes.
You know, especially in like Marvel movies,
Yeah.
most of the time, not all of them, most of the time they have a post-credit scene, and you sit there, and people are getting up and walking away, and you're thinking,
why are you leaving?
Fucking idiots.
Why are you leaving? We've got the
so
good
stupid.
stuff coming up.
You want to, like, Billy Madison them and stay in your seat as long as you can. Right? And,
True.
But yeah, no, it's dude, it's just added so much, and just excitement, and just, I'm fucking stoked for it.
And just to build one more point off of this, I don't know about you, but growing up watching wrestling, I wanted to be I wanted my career to be in wrestling. I think all of us wrestling fans dreamed of being a wrestler.
Absolutely.
And that dream kind of
Still do sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. But you kind of grow up and you go, okay, I'm not going to be able to go down that route. You know, how can we make our mark on wrestling? We got a podcast where we could talk about wrestling. So
yeah, dude.
to me, that feels like I'm part of the wrestling industry.
Yeah,
we're talking about it.
We're in the world.
We're in it. So it's like a dream come true. So this podcast has done a lot for just in the short time that we've started. But just super excited for what we got going forward.
Dude, absolutely.
So can we cheers to that?
Yeah, we can cheers to that. Absolutely.
And get another sip of this mint julep.
Absolutely delicious.
Here it comes!
Which brings us to our belt section.
I just drooled. So good.
So
Can't help
good.
it. Well, fuck, dude. Where we left off with would have been SmackDown after Clash at the Castle.
Yep.
So, a lot of fucking shit happened on this episode of SmackDown.
SmackDown almost won up Raw, with the exception of the Wyatt Six debut. I think SmackDown brought its A game.
It was again, it was top to bottom, constant, just like, what's going on, man? So much stuff transpired, and so many things like are now set in place because of it. First thing that I feel like we need to at least address is the fact that it was in Chicago, and CM Punk, who is a Raw superstar, because it's in Chicago for SmackDown, made his presence felt in the opening segment of Raw of SmackDown.
Before we get into CM Punk, I know that opened the show, but something we should point out is just some of the story continuity they're bringing, like little details I don't think they would have done before. But the Wyatt Six made a big impression on Monday. So following NXT, SmackDown, security is beefed up. They're like pointing this out.
Big,
and then maybe possibly, which we'll get into here, a CM Punk. But anyways, I thought I'd point that out. But CM Punk opens the show in Chicago, SmackDown.
Very interestingly, sitting crisscross in the middle of the ring. Right? Which is just a complete callback to the pipe bombs that he has dropped in. Which, like, you think pipe bomb, that's the, kind of notorious one.
Yeah.
Right? But that wasn't the only time he ever did that. He did that multiple times. That was kind of his thing, is he sits crisscross and fucking just speaks the truth.
Yeah.
Right? Which is awesome. And it's one of the things that if you're a fan of CM Punk, that's what you love about him. And, he just pretty much straight up fucking just said what it is, and kind of what we alluded to last week with him in the post-Clash conference, and just talking about how, like, he's never gonna let Drew win a world championship, and then he's talking about how Drew quit on Monday and all that, and
how he let down his hometown people, and
how CM Punk went into Scotland and was still cheered.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, he had people, like, hanging on him.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
Like, he was really, like, pumping that up and just kind of how like even your own hometown people like me more than you type of idea. And yeah, dude, it was. Heyman comes out.
Which
There's so many layers to this, right? Because like CM Punk was a Paul Heyman guy at one point in his career, and
ECW, and then later down the road when he was champion for quite a while there, he was a Paul Heyman guy, but they have a deep history together.
And so it was like CM Punk was at Heyman's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, sitting next to his kids.
So it was interesting because it's like Heyman comes out, the music hits, Heyman comes out, and you're like, or I guess it wasn't music, it was Heyman saying the ladies and gentlemen. But he comes out, and you're, as a fan, you're just watching it, and you're like, I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
Why is he coming out? Does this have something to do with their history? Does this have something to do with the bloodline and that he's on SmackDown? Or like what's going on? Because in a sense, CM Punk's kind of invading the other brand to a point, right?
Yeah.
Not like invading, but it was just, he was there.
Yeah.
He's not a superstar on that brand, on the SmackDown brand. And so it was just very like, what's going on? And then it ended up very quickly being like, okay, it's the bloodline. Because
it's a little bit of everything you just said.
It was a little bit of everything we just said. Because they alluded to their history. And that's part of the reason why Heyman was out there, right? Is because he was like, wants to warn CM Punk. Because he doesn't want anything to happen to CM Punk.
Yeah.
But it very quickly ends up being like, the overall primary thing is, if you don't leave, Tama and Tonga are gonna come fuck you up, essentially.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Like Solo's gonna send his little his hitman after you.
But interestingly enough, there was another part to that where he said, "Take me with you."
Yeah, take me with you.
So to build on what
he said, "You have you asked me if I do this, if I do this for you, you'll do something for me or whatever it was." And he said, "What was that?" And he's like, "Take me with you." And scared Heyman.
Scared Heyman.
Again, right? It was scared Heyman.
I think Heyman is selling this. I think without Heyman, the new bloodline would. Is it exciting? Yes.
Without Heyman, the original bloodline.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, Heyman has been the face of WWE.
Yeah.
Storytelling for the last few years.
Adds that level to a storyline.
So damn good. And it's been more than the last few years, because when he was with Brock, it's like he is so damn good. And we already talked about it, so I don't need to spend a lot of time on it. But anyways, Bloodline comes out, and some shit starts to pop off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Talk about that. What do we got?
They, lay into the CM Punk, and then we get RKO, Team RKO coming out.
Hell yeah.
So we see more of that building, like we were talking about from the previous episode. But RKO is coming out, but now you add in a new wrinkle. Cody Rhodes comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got Cody Rhodes and Team RKO going against the Bloodline.
Yep.
Tama, Solo, and the third guy? Tonga. Yep. So we got 3 versus 3. We got New Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes and RKO.
Yes.
So we got that going on. Then we kind of go, that's the opening to the SmackDown. Big opening.
That was quite a lot.
And then we go into Money in the Bank qualifiers. So this is we got more joining Io Sky and Jey Uso. So we got on the women's side of things, Chelsea Green coming out on top. Did not see it coming.
Did not,
because Bianca was in the match.
Yes, did not see.
All accounts and purposes,
winning that.
You think Bianca is gonna?
And the fact that they had just dropped the tag titles, you just figure they're going to put Bianca in the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of goes to, kind of alludes to your point last week, which maybe they're not done with the Cargill and Bianca angle. You know, like I had talked about how I think it's good for them to like drop the belts and maybe start moving into some single stuff. That would have been the opportunity to do that. Yeah. And obviously they didn't. They had Chelsea Green win that match, which was a shock. But
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too. But maybe that then kind of brings us to potentially there being more with the Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair tag team situation going on. So,
and I mean, there was a little banter between them. It was all positive, but I feel like that always leads to something down the road. So, more to come on that. On the guys' side of things, though, we have Carmelo Hayes, and then Andrade joined the mix of things. Again, Carmelo Hayes being part of it surprised me. Mm-hmm. Andrade, not so much.
That one made more sense.
It made more sense.
It definitely made more sense.
But with the peoples in those matches, so KO was in the Andrade triple threat. We had Randy in there, and there was Solo telling Paul Heyman, these two cannot win Money in the Bank qualifiers. Yeah. So on paper it makes sense, but the way Carmelo won, I was just like, wow. I was shocked by that win, and then Andrade. So we got Jey Uso so far. We got Carmelo Hayes and Andrade in that match. I mean, you put those three in a triple threat match alone, it's going to be good.
It's going to be a good fucking match.
It's going to be a good match.
And we still have three other motherfuckers to add into this.
To add to it. And then we kind of get brought back to the intro. So it seems to be like we got an intro, a mid-show, and ending that kind of tie together. And
very much so.
Can you bring us what happened? There was a backstage segment between DIY and Grayson Waller and not Austin Theory because he's out on injury, but we see someone get a brutal beatdown during that time.
Why am I drawing a blank right now?
I mean, CM Punk getting
goddamn, yeah, Jesus Christ! I forgot who the people in front of the garage door at first were. I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, so all of a sudden they're being interviewed essentially, or there's not an interview necessarily, but they're it's just a camera segment of them going at each other. I totally spaced that it was DIY and Grayson Waller. That's why when you said that, I was like, wait, who got their ass beat? Like, who was it? That's right, it was them. And then all of a sudden they're like standing in front of like a metal garage door to the arena.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden there's like noises and banging on the door, and they're all like, what the hell? And they all kind of back out of camera view, and then the door opens. And at first it like takes a second to realize who it is or what's going on, because of it's like if you're in a dark room and then you like open a door to the light, right, and your eyes take a second to adjust. That's kind of what it was like. And then you realize that it's Drew McIntyre standing over CM Punk. They're like, Drew McIntyre, who had just quit on Raw 4 days before, is now on SmackDown just fucking dismantling CM Punk. Like, and the thing was too, which I think actually added to it, was you didn't see any of it.
Nope.
And I think that was smart, and I think that was so well done, was because you literally didn't see any of it happen. You just heard a little bit right at the end, and then CM Punk was on the ground. I mean, dude, he is bloodied. Bloodied. More than you've ever seen someone, or not ever, but more in the last fucking 15 years probably, close to. He was close to as bloodied as Stone Cold passing out in the sharpshooter. It was real fucking close. He was fucked up, and Drew picks him up on his shoulders, and he's just limp. CM Punk played that so goddamn well. He's fucking just dead looking, and just carries him out, drops him and hard drops him too. Just fucking throws him off his shoulders to the point where I was like, oh my god, my elbow hurts watching CM Punk land on the stage. I was like, oh fuck.
True.
And just fucking obliterated him.
Can we just give props to W? I don't know why I didn't think of it, but the storytelling. Drew goes into CM Punk goes into Scotland, screws over Drew. Drew goes into Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect planning. I don't know if that had anything to do with storytelling.
I know,
but
it worked
what
out
are the odds
so well
of that? And it just like
they got the better of each other in each other's hometowns.
And the whole promo at the beginning, CM Punk saying, "I've never failed you guys. When I said I'm gonna do something, gonna do it," and then gets murdered on SmackDown in his hometown.
Like, we talked last week about how we thought Ricochet got killed on camera. Like, this was actually worse. And we watched what happened to Ricochet.
Yeah, we did.
That's the thing. Like, we saw it happening to Ricochet. It was happening. We didn't even see what the fuck happened to CM Punk, but it was believable. You believed that he was absolutely fucked up. So,
I don't know how long CM Punk will be off screen from this. But this feud is just...
It's amazing,
there is a cauldron, and it is on fire. And it is just boiling to... It's got to be one of the top feuds
there haven't been many in recent and there have been some fucking good
Roman
ones,
and
dude.
Cody was
Roman
great.
and Cody was amazing, but doesn't hold a candle.
I don't think
CM
it does.
to CM Punk and Drew.
And
it's so good.
To think it all happened by accident.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble.
Literally all happened by
CM Punk
accident.
was probably projected to win that match in all things, but got injured by Drew by accident, and then it turned into this feud.
And they've played it so well. It's
so
damn good.
So well. I don't think there's ever been an injury angle, like an actual injury angle, where they played off of it so well.
Yeah. No, I don't know that there has been. Like, it's been great.
Yeah.
And now, when you thought that, like, the show couldn't necessarily get any more surprising or shocking, we have the conclusion to it.
Yes.
And
we get Solo versus Cody Rhodes.
Solo versus Cody, which is like, in and of itself, you're like, fuck yeah, this is a hell of a main event for SmackDown, dude.
This should be on a PLE.
Like, yeah, it should be. Like, you're like the head of the new bloodline, the face of the fucking company.
Just FYI, I called it the new bloodline, and then they quickly started calling that.
You're right, they did. Someone's listening.
Again, someone is listening to our podcast, I think. But a great match.
It was.
Both of them said we're going to keep our people to the sideline for it. Obviously,
you knew that was bullshit.
Obviously, bullshit.
Yeah. You knew that wasn't going to last.
But
how could it?
You get to the end of the match, and you got RKO coming out.
Well, okay. First off, I'm gonna rewind real quick because I do think that this plays a large role. Earlier in the triple threat match that KO was in, he got attacked.
True.
Right? He got attacked and he got injured. Right?
Yeah.
Like they were playing it well. He had a leg injury.
Yeah.
Because then this leads to when they're coming out. Right? So Cody gets jumped by Tama and Tonga. Like usual, the hitman, right?
Yeah.
He gets jumped. That's happening. Now here comes RKO. Randy's music hits. Randy's running. KO's like limping behind him. So you're already like, shit, they're at a disadvantage.
You're at a disadvantage.
Right? However, they take over.
Yeah.
They fucking clear the ring of Tama and Tonga. All three of them are now turning to Solo. Solo's like, oh fuck, he kind of drops down in the corner scared. Yeah. And then that scared look quickly turns to a very devious smile. And you're like, wait, what the fuck's going on?
What is going on?
And then
lo and behold,
they turn around and here comes fucking Jacob Fatu super kicking the fucking faces off of everybody. And then proceeds to single-handedly, literally by himself, demolish all three of them. All three of them.
All three of them.
Does was it a power slam to KO on the steps?
Yeah.
Spears fucking Orton through the goddamn barricade, which was not a clean fucking... No. That barricade did not want to break.
No.
The wrong part of it fell over.
Yeah.
And then fucking Superfly Jimmy Snuka splashes Cody
announce
Rhodes
table.
through the WWE champion gets demolished by a dude for his first fucking time on camera in the company.
Yeah.
Like, that's some pretty high fucking praise. But then it doesn't even end there. They get into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Solo embraces Jacob. I don't know if you noticed this or not. Jacob did not reply. He did not respond to the embrace.
I did not notice that.
Solo, like, hugs him. Jacob Fatu's just standing there. Okay. Then, Jacob and Solo put the ones up.
Yeah.
Tama and Tonga are slow to get in the ring behind them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed, they were very caught off guard, it looked like. They were
they
very surprised. They were very hesitant. And then they both raised.
Yeah, they both hesitated with the ones.
I have a theory.
All right. Okay.
I do have a theory. What if Jacob Fatu is not actually Solo's plan?
Possibly. I could
What
see
if
that.
Jacob Fatu is actually a midnight man for Roman?
Or Paul Heyman.
Oh.
Or Paul Heyman.
I feel like that's one and the same almost, though.
But yeah.
Because
yeah.
right, I feel like Paul Heyman is still very much dedicated to Roman.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, right? And this isn't my theory. I shouldn't have said I have a theory. I stole this from somebody. I did hear it and read it somewhere else. It was actually Bully Ray.
Okay.
It was actually Ray. He is actually the one that kind of alluded to it and talked about it. I was like, fuck, that's a good point. I didn't even notice that.
I didn't even because
I didn't embrace it. He didn't do nothing.
I was going to allude to the fact that the announcers were saying, Solo, what did you do? Like, they know who Jacob Fatu is and what he's capable of, and they were like, Solo, what did you do? Like, in shock that he brought him in. So I like that theory. It adds that intrigue to what's it Solo, because of the no embrace in that originally.
And then the hesitancy. I think that like the no embrace could have very easily just been like a thing and then overlooked. But then I think the hesitancy by Tama and Tonga is the thing where they're like, why the fuck's he here?
Yeah.
Type of look, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like they either weren't involved in the idea of bringing him in, and Solo just did it because he knew they couldn't fully handle it.
Yeah.
Which already is going to be a rift. Or Solo thought he was the one bringing it in, but they're both like, there's an alternative plan here or something. Like, there's something going on.
I like it, dude.
The amount of detail and stuff that has been put in all this stuff, like, that can't just be overlooked.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a coincidence. So there's something going on here.
I like that, and just one more point before we move on is just oh god, what was I gonna say? Is just again giving props to WWE. Is just they could have easily debuted Tonga, Jacob Fatu all at once.
Yeah.
After WrestleMania, because that's when Tama came aboard, and it's just been one by one introducing new facets to this instead of, I think, in an old regime, this would have been a one-off surprise, and that would have been it. So, but just wrinkle after wrinkle getting added into this storyline. So all right, going on to
brings
Raw.
us to Raw this past Monday.
Yeah,
and few things. Drew starts the show. Shows up, crashes Raw, if you will, because he technically had still quit.
Yeah.
Right before this, goes on a whole promo. Right?
Yeah.
Talking about what he did with addressing him attacking Punk on SmackDown. Alludes to the fact that he is going to, while Punk is injured and miserable, that he's going to win the Money in the Bank, and he's going to cash in that night and become the world champion in spite of Punk and like everything. Then it kind of leads to a backstage segment of McIntyre being told by Adam Pearce that you have to qualify for Money in the Bank. Like, you don't just get to be added to it, which pisses McIntyre off.
Yeah.
But that leads to a triple threat match that's coming Monday.
Yeah.
Between Braun Strowman, Braun, McIntyre, and who the fuck's the third person? Every episode we forget the name of somebody. Anyways, there's a triple threat match for one of the last qualifying qualifiers for the Money in the Bank match for the men's at Money in the Bank. Meanwhile, during all this, security is still in full effect. Like
full effect.
Pumped up security. There's a lot of security going on.
We see Chad Gable.
Chad Gable shows up.
Gets security into his room.
Literally out of his car that he's chauffeured in. Security comes out with him. Gets all the way escorted. Like, fully, he's scared for his life.
Meanwhile, just throughout the night, we're trying to get a word with him. But they, I was like, oh, he got killed last Monday. How is he going to be in his Money in the Bank?
I don't remember if we actually fully addressed that in last episode when the Wyatt 6 debuted. But Chad Gable was like the one superstar that they actually like zoomed in on. That was one of the like presumed to be dead people backstage when the Wyatt 6 debuted. So that's where this whole thing kind of stems from. Is Chad Gable is now like terrified. He is alive and well, but he's terrified, scared, like wondering what the hell's going on. And along with everybody else, like nobody knows what's going on with the Wyatt 6 because it's just like they're like, what the fuck's going to happen? That's why security. So,
but he's cleared to wrestle, which I was concerned about. Like, he had a triple threat match qualifier for the Money in the Bank, but cleared to wrestle. He wrestles his match. Comes out on top. He gets qualified for the Money in the Bank.
He did.
Joining Jey Uso, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. So we got 4 of the 6 participants. But immediately following his match, get some more shenanigans going on.
Yeah, the lights go out. He's standing in the ring. The lights go out, fog starts to roll in, you see the fireflies light up around the arena, and then all of a sudden you see somebody slide into the ring, which happens to be Nikki Cross again, in her creepy-ass character that I am in love with. It's so good, but Gable gets out of the ring, right? Immediately. Nothing happens to Gable in this segment, but she then really creepishly kind of makes her way back out of the ring, holding this box, and hands it off to the announce table at Michael Cole. And then that's kind of it. That it just kind of, she goes away, the lights come back on, everything like, what the fuck? Goes to commercial, comes back, Michael Cole kind of addresses what just happened, says that he was given a box with a VHS tape in it, right? Which is, well before these bad boys were a thing, before Blu-ray and DVD, VHS tapes, and
so he leaves
trying to find a place, trying to find a VCR essentially to be able to play it.
But the interesting thing to note also, it was addressed to Pat McAfee. And earlier in the day, we find out that Pat McAfee's not part of the show. Some family issues, it sounded like. But on the Pat McAfee show, I believe there was a little glitches going on as well. So maybe further down the road, we see Wyatt 6 interfering with Pat McAfee
somehow.
But yeah, got a tape and play going on out there.
Brings us to the Intercontinental Championship, and Braun Breaker now
confirmed
getting his shot at Money in the Bank against Sami Zayn.
But I'm still a little lost because Sheamus and Ludwig are, like, I know they're feuding, but it's also tied into Sami and Braun. They seem to be interfering in all of each other's
I think it was. I don't think it's going to because it wasn't like Sammy interfering in any of their stuff, and it wasn't Braun interfering in any of their stuff. It was those two interfering in both matches with Braun.
Okay.
So I think that was Braun's point of being like, listen, I'm sick of this shit. Like, give me my title. I would have beat both of them, which probably was true, realistically. Now I feel like it's going to kind of separate to personal over business with Sheamus and Ludwig, because it's now it's personal between those two. So I feel like title is kind of out of sight for them.
That makes
which
sense.
brings us to now Braun getting the shot with Sammy, which is going to be an amazing match.
It's going to be
very
amazing.
excited. Like, Sammy keeps finding himself on the underhanded side of these bouts and feuds, and he always makes them interesting. Him versus Roman, him versus Gunther, now him versus Braun. He is the underdog in every single one of these. Yeah. Because just physically, he's not close to any of them.
Yeah.
But Hart,
got all of it.
he outdoes everybody, right?
Yeah.
So, and in-ring talent and everything is amazing. So,
yeah,
that's that. We're excited for that one.
I think that brings us to more Judgment Day. I know that this is a big favorite of yours going on.
It is. I love it. I absolutely love what's going on with the Judgment Day.
We are falling more and more into a Judgment Day dysfunction.
Something is going to happen. Something's going to turn.
I feel like they've teased dysfunction, but now I think it's finally coming to a boil, and Liv Morgan, again, is at the center of it all.
Yeah.
But who is she really aligned? Like, is she really after Dirty Dom?
So we'll get to that, right? We'll get to that. But first, I think we got to address the Seth Rollins, Damian Priest.
Oh, yeah, the promo.
The promo for the match that they had decided was going to happen the previous week. Because there's a new stipulation in place now, right? And that is if Priest wins, Rollins will not get a title shot again while Priest is champion.
True, yeah.
However, if Rollins wins, Priest now has to leave the Judgment Day. He's done with the Judgment Day.
Prove that he can do it all on his own.
Prove that he can do it on his own. And I think Damian Priest's response to that was the biggest part of the entire thing.
That was a pipe bomb in itself.
It was a pipe bomb in itself, because that now alludes to what we're talking about with the Liv Morgan stuff and the interference and all of that we'll get to here further down the line. But Priest said, the Judgment Day needs me more than I need them.
Yeah.
You have a deal. Right, so he accepted the stipulation, straight up said that he is far more important to the Judgment Day than the Judgment Day is to him, which obviously at some point is going to cause some form of friction between him and the other members. More than we've already seen, right? We've seen eye rolls from Finn Balor towards Damian Priest in regards to the Liv Morgan interference with what the hell's going on with Dom and all that.
Yeah.
So that all happening then kind of brings us to Gunther made his presence felt during that promo. So before we move forward.
And you said, you texted me about, I want to see Rollins versus Gunther at SummerSlam. So
I said I think this whole thing kind of sets up. So there's that whole promo.
Yeah.
And then so that promo mixed with then Gunther coming out and saying just kind of like, hey, good luck to you guys, blah, 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 whatever. But the winner will see me down the line at SummerSlam. Because he won King of the Ring, so he has a match already set at SummerSlam for the world World Heavyweight title. And so that whole thing, I was just like, this just set it up with the stipulation that Damian accepted and the fact that he said what he said. It sets it up for, my opinion, Finn to screw Damian at Money in the Bank. Start obviously a feud there.
Yeah.
Seth win the title back. because what I texted you was, we all know that Seth versus Gunther is the fucking world title match we want at SummerSlam, not Priest versus Gunther.
And I would have to agree, but then you saying that brought me back to even before Mania happened. There was Gunther coming out and addressing Seth Rollins. He was basically saying, or no, it was after WrestleMania, but basically saying, I want to come after that title. And the seeds were already set for a Seth versus Gunther match. So, so that definitely, I think you're onto something there. With something happening at Money in the Bank here.
Yeah. And then we'll get a little bit more into the Judgment Day stuff here in a few, but first, some more Money in the Bank qualifiers proceeded to happen. We had Lyra end up winning her triple threat match to join the ranks of Chelsea Green and Io Sky.
Another surprising
win. Another shocking win, but also, again, it's like that women's that women's Money in the Bank match is turning out to have potential.
Yes.
Because it's now, you're looking at names that are like, I mean, Io was the champion for a little bit, but you got Chelsea Green in it now. Now you have Lyra, who's still up and coming, essentially.
Yeah.
Since when she was on NXT before. And so it's like, what are we doing with this women's Money in the Bank match? We're pushing new faces. That's what they're trying to do. So that's exciting. And then on top of that, like we already talked about, we had Gable join Hayes, Andrade, and Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Now, what leads to the videotape?
Michael Cole gets on screen and says, "We found a VCR."
Yep.
VCR. Do you know that term?
Yeah, right. He actually called it a VH. I think he called it. He didn't even call it a VCR on screen either.
Yeah.
He called it like a VHS playing machine.
Yeah.
Or a VHS player.
Yeah, exactly.
Because nobody nowadays, for the most part, knows what the fuck a VCR is.
Yeah, I think they're actually kind of like vinyl. They're making a comeback. But anyways, says we located a video cassette player and plays a video with Bo Dallas talking to Uncle Howdy.
And it was an interview.
It was an interview,
which was very interesting, and I thought it was really well done. It was literally Uncle Howdy interviewing Bo Dallas about the passing of Bray Wyatt, which was
shocking. And
it was that was wild. It was like, oh my god, they're utilizing Bray's actual death in the return of Uncle Howdy and like the character arc and all of this stuff for his brother Bo Dallas. And so it was like that was
I got emotional during it.
Same. Like straight up same. Because I think it's easy to do that, and that's why that segment probably played so well, is just because it's real.
Yeah.
Like it is real. It isn't them like making something out of nothing. It is them making everything out of a real fucking thing that happened.
And the points they were getting across in the interview, just saying you're just living off of his legacy.
And yeah, it was Uncle Howdy like almost tearing Bo Dallas apart to a point, and then Bo like defending it.
Yeah.
Because that's I think they're playing to probably some actual shit that they've heard or read online, where it's
that's what I was gonna say. I think
how the fuck are like? What do you guys? You guys are just using Bray Wyatt's death now to like push yourself, and it's like, fuck you, come on. And that's kind of what they're hinting at, I think. And
I think that
kind of shoving it in those people's faces.
I think Uncle Howdy was playing that part of the internet community, saying the negative things about this storyline and going, fuck you guys, we're doing this. And and Bo, so like again, just super emotional while being just unbelievable
fucking
segment.
It was great. That was an A plus for sure.
You know, it's hard to follow up what they did on the Raw previous week.
Oh my gosh!
But that video, I think, covered.
And it's done so well because you're now, like, they're ramping up security and all this stuff. You're expecting something physical to happen.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't happen, and that happens.
Yeah.
So it's, like, shocking in and of itself that that's the way they went about it.
Mm-hmm.
How it happened, the info that they used to portray it, all of it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know? So it was shocking. It was a curveball you didn't expect in any way, and it just adds to just the build and everything. Because, like, we still haven't fully seen the impact that the Wyatt Six will have.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, we saw them in person, and we still haven't gotten anything.
Yeah.
Like, it was a glimpse. So
yeah.
I think they're doing a really good job of drawing this out and building on it. And, like, it's going to explode at one point, and I don't know when that is, but I'm excited for it.
I'm super excited for it.
Now this brings us to the conclusion of Raw.
But there was a lot going into the conclusion of Raw. I don't think...
Yes.
This was not a planned main event.
No. Liv Morgan, of course, manages to talk R-Truth into essentially defending the tag team titles against Finn Balor and JD McDonough. After she had a little bit of a tiff, if you will, with
Selena Vega.
Well, but Dom and Nick.
Oh, Dom and Nick.
Dom and Nick.
What happened to those guys?
Yeah, what happened to those guys? Fucking R-Truth. He is, like you said 2 weeks ago, he is fucking gold.
Yeah.
Pure gold. Anyway, the match gets made. Liv Morgan sets JD and Finn up to potentially win gold. Well, the match is happening. Good match, too. It was a really good match. Liv Morgan, of course, makes her presence felt out at ringside. And all in all, she ends up fucking hitting R-Truth with the goddamn neck slingshot off of the top rope. And Finn and JD end up winning the tag titles. Now, I sent you a picture earlier today.
Yep.
Because I have a theory.
Okay.
There is a picture of Finn Balor holding the tag title up. And in the background of the photo, you see Liv Morgan holding her title, staring at Finn just with the biggest smile on her face.
Yeah.
Now, you had a retort to this. However, I still think there's a possibility here that this whole time Liv Morgan had, like, Liv and Finn have been working together.
Yeah. To
create this whole fucking scheme to break the Judgment Day apart and set themselves up.
And
that's what I'm curious about, because you think back to, again, Finn grabbing the room key.
Yeah.
Right? They're trying to put a wedge between Dom with everybody else, setting Dom up to, like, everyone be like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
JD's just a fucking bobblehead. Like, he's just there. He's a wounded little puppy dog. Like, that's his character.
He's gonna hang by Finn.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it kind of showed just in and of itself when they were both standing together on the ramp and went to hold the titles up, and Liv kind of butted in between them.
Yeah.
With her title, and then they both looked at each other and were like, fuck it, and held up their titles, right? Like, there was something to that. Again, like we've talked about, like, every detail matters now in WWE. Like, there's nothing that, like, every little thing is planned.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a whole lot anymore that is like, oh, that was just coincidence. No, like, this shit is happening for a reason.
100%.
And so, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. We got new tag team titles. The Liv Morgan storyline is absolute gold. And everything she's doing is amazing right now.
They're hitting on all cylinders right now. There is just not a storyline where I'm going, why are we doing this?
Yeah, there isn't one. Like, there's not one. It's fucking crazy. We kind of skipped over it when we were talking about SmackDown, but like the Logan Paul and LA Knight fucking storyline's huge too. Yeah. Like, but all of everything that they're doing right now is just, it's awesome. And that's what's, it's making it super interesting and exciting for us to be able to talk about on a weekly basis, and hopefully keep you guys all invested as well.
Yeah, which I think brings us to our banger of the week, right?
Banger of the week.
So I'm going to let you go first.
All right. Banger of the week for me was Drew attacking CM Punk.
Yeah.
Straight up. It was Drew, and it was close between the video,
Yeah.
the Bo Dallas Bray or Uncle Howdy video, but I think it was Drew attacking CM Punk because it was, like we talked about, it was made so much fucking sense for something that completely caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Like I did not expect it. I didn't see it coming because I didn't know how they were playing the whole Drew quitting thing and CM Punk kind of calling him out and being CM Punk in the beginning and all of that. And then for him to literally just get attacked and fucking demolished in front of his home crowd, like I didn't see it coming. Even though maybe I should have, but I didn't. So that's my banger of the week is Drew attacking CM Punk.
My banger of the week is got to be Jacob Fatu debuting.
All right, so both SmackDown.
Both SmackDown. They laid down a great show.
Blew the fucking doors off at this week, I think, yeah.
They come guns a-blazing, and not to say Raw didn't disappoint. You know, it was a great show.
Great show.
You know, I had my doubts that Jacob was coming. I saw Tama Tonga. I thought they were all going to come together. Mm-hmm. Didn't happen. And then he shows up. The devious smile by Solo setting it up just made it
that much more better.
That much better.
Yeah.
And so that would be my banger of the week.
All right. Well, fuck. Cheers to that.
Cheers to
the
that.
banger of the week. The next thing.
A few moments later.
Belts question of the week. It's a little bit different of one. It's something we haven't done before, but I wanted to do a draft style 5-on-5 tag team.
Okay.
Right? So you just think like a 5-on-5 elimination tag style match.
Okay.
Kind of like what we had in like during the Invasion storyline you brought up a couple weeks ago, right? So I figured I think we have a coin. We'll flip a coin.
See who goes first?
To see who drafts first, and then it's just going to be drafting wrestlers to our 5-person tag team match, and then at the end we'll kind of look at the teams and try to decide which team we think would be the best team.
All right.
Gives us something a little different, a little fun to do. I'm going to grab my handy dandy Triple B notebook here.
All right, let's flip the coin. So I'm gonna flip.
My question.
All
how
right,
about I flip it? You call.
Okay.
Okay. It's my question for you.
Call in the air.
Call it in the air.
Okay.
I'll try to catch it.
All right.
See how it goes. You ready?
All right. Tails.
It is tails. So you get the first overall.
I get to go first.
You get the first pick. Yes.
All right, well then I'm going to go...
You have this in your head. I have it on paper. You're better than I am. I got to be able to keep track of what we got going on here.
My number one draft pick is for my 5-team match is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's the first name I had written down. God damn it. I don't feel like I have a choice. I got to go The Rock.
Okay.
I got to go The Rock. Okay, number 2. What do we got?
I'm going to go with the Cerebral Assassin, Triple H.
Okay, all right. That one was lower on my list.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can't go lower with Triple H. He is a monster.
I'm going Shawn Michaels.
Oh. I'm seeing something. I'm seeing a theme here.
Going Shawn. All right, what do you got?
All right. Undertaker.
Okay. Going Randy Orton.
Ooh. Again, we're kind of following the theme.
I know. Kind of, yes.
All right.
Number 4. What do we got?
Kurt Angle.
Okay. All right. Roddy Piper.
Ooh. All right. This is final pick.
Final pick.
Final pick here. I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar.
All right. So I got Rock, Orton, Michaels, and Rowdy Piper. You have Stone Cold, Triple H, Undertaker, and Brock. Fuck. Wait, Stone Cold, Triple H, Undertaker, Brock. Who's your fifth? Didn't you just say it? Brock was your fifth. Because you went first.
Oh, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle, right.
Kurt Angle.
Oh, God. Stone Cold, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Taker, Rock, Brock. Oh, man. Okay. Going Chris Jericho. Y2J.
All right.
Okay, so Rock, Orton, Michaels, Y2J, Rowdy Piper. One of these things is not like the others. I love Rowdy Piper. He is one of my all-time favorites. So I was
And
like,
I think he's a lot of
yeah,
wrestlers' favorites.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are inspired.
So I think that was a good point, because I was like, I had Ultimate Warrior written down. I was like, you could have gone Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, but I was like, realistically, if you're looking at like a group with like someone to hold their own, I'm going Roddy. I think all day long. So those five against Stone Cold, Triple H, Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, and Brock Lesnar. Fuck.
I mean, I drafted on who could crush your team's ass. So
yeah, and I mean, like, physicality wise, I think you win. Like, purely just based on brute strength. I think potential in-ring ability, I think I win.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Angle makes a really... He's talent-wise on my team.
Very much so. But I have Michaels, Orton, Rock, and Y2J. Not even counting Roddy Piper. Those are four of the greatest in-ring performers of all time.
I'm just saying that's going to be an epic match there.
That's a fucking great match. Honestly, I don't even know ranking-wise if we can even figure that out, because I would go to bat for my team as you would for yours. But it was still fun to do. That would be kind of cool. I don't know if we would actually get this or not. But if anyone of our fans wants to hit us up on our socials and decide which team they think would be best, Team Timmy or Team Ryan, which team they think would win that match, I would love for you guys to let us know. And
I think we got one of our next social media posts and questions.
Absolutely.
So may the best team win.
May the best team win. I love it.
Blockbusters!
Blockbusters. First thing up that we got to talk about is, I don't know if you've seen this or not. Do you even know what this is? Do you know
I actually saw this trailer due to Haley.
Okay, perfect.
She sent me
so
a
you
trailer
do know
on
what
this.
this is. Awesome.
I now do know what this is about.
Red one. You got The Rock. You got J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
And Chris Evans.
And Jeremy Renner as the polar bear.
Jeremy Renner. I didn't even know that. I had no fucking idea that Jeremy Renner played the polar bear. That makes so much fucking sense, because when I was watching the trailer, I was like, why do I know that voice? And I didn't even think to look up who plays the fucking polar bear. Jeremy Renner. Awesome. I love that. So, I wanted to throw this on here just because, it kind of bridges the gaps in a lot of stuff that we talk about, right? Wrestling, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Marvel, Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons, like Jeremy Renner. So yeah, and it was also, I know we're both men of the holidays.
Yeah, we
do enjoy the holidays quite a bit, and I realize it's June. We're 6 months away from Christmas. However, this movie comes out in November. It is a straight up Santa movie. J.K. Simmons plays Santa. Something happens. The trailer you don't really know what it is that happens, but Santa goes missing.
Santa goes
All of a
missing
sudden
right
he's
before
gone
Christmas.
right before Christmas, and then The Rock is kind of tasked with trying to find him. They bring in Chris Evans' character, who's some sort of like special detective guy or something.
Yeah.
And clearly The Rock and the polar bear, Jeremy Renner, butt heads with Chris Evans throughout the trailer and whatnot. But I wrote on here that it's kind of a play off of the Santa Claus with Tim Allen to a sense, but then taken to a whole other level, right? Because there's the scene in the first Santa Claus with Tim Allen where he like takes his son with him. The parent, the mom and the stepdad call the cops. He ends up going to jail, and then the North Pole like sends the little mission of like Mission Impossible elves to break him out of jail, right? Yeah. So it's kind of a parallel there that I was just like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but it's taken to a whole other level now to where it's like it's not a Mission Impossible group of elves, it's The Rock and Chris Evans, The Rock and Captain America trying to find fucking Santa Claus.
Yeah. And I read a little more about it because I was like, the red one, and then she sent the trailer. And it sounds like they are going to try to make this into a franchise, so possibly...
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even read about it. I saw the trailer, I was like, we got to talk about this.
Adding in new holiday characters, I'm assuming, because you do see some of the other characters in the trailer, like Krampus. I know he's tied to Christmas, but could easily see it going any other direction. Absolutely. But I'm sure it will depend on how well the movie does. But I did read they're trying to make it into a franchise.
That would be dope. So, that'd be awesome. I love it. I love it already. Speaking of Chris Evans and Captain America, this brings me to our next topic of Captain America 4 minus Chris Evans. So Anthony Mackie now coming back, reprising his role as the new Captain America from Captain America and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus show. Yeah. But the big part about this that I really want to talk about is Giancarlo Esposito. He is cast in that movie. Yeah. He has been, it's been known that he's been cast in a Marvel role. It's still unsure of, nobody knows what the role he is playing is yet. Mm-hmm. But it has been now confirmed that he's, the big bad of Captain America 4. So we don't know what that is yet. We have no idea what the character is going to be. There's a lot of potential in different areas, and I do think it was very interesting because I read and watched the interview with him, where he said two very interesting things. Okay. He said his character that he plays is a straight and total badass. Yeah. Where, if you know who Giancarlo Esposito is, he has played characters before. His most well-known characters are from Breaking Bad. Yeah. And, Breaking Bad, The Mandalorian, and The Boys. Yeah. He's kind of one of the bad guys in The Boys. But he's not a super villain in The Boys. Gotcha. He's just a regular dude. Yeah. Same as his role in Breaking Bad. He's just kind of a regular dude that is a bad guy. Mandalorian's a little different. He's a Star Wars bad guy. Right? Yeah. But still, he's not like Darth Maul or Darth Vader level. Yeah. Quite, right? Some might argue that, but he's not. He's not that level of a villain. So badass, I was like, ooh, that's interesting because you haven't seen him as a physical badass before. And really? I know we've talked about him on our first episode. Yeah. We thought he could be a bad guy. Dr. Doom or Magneto or... So the fact that we still don't know who he is, it just adds an intriguing part. Who does he play in this film? And the second thing that he said in that interview that was very intriguing, which just kind of continued on with the whole his character being a badass thing, was he talks about the fact that like as like fans of his, you've never seen him use his body in the way that he does in this role.
Gotcha.
So it's like it sounds like it's like a physical like role. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is gonna be. So I'm very interested and very intrigued in that, and I just thought it would be a decent talking point. Just kind of bring it up, just kind of float it, and be like, I don't know who it is, because even like Doctor Doom's, he is, but also isn't at the same time. Like I don't know that you would describe Doctor Doom as like a physically imposing threat. Yeah, right. It's more of like a mental, and his physical abilities, like the powers that he got from the radioactive, the cosmic radiation. Magneto is also not like uberly physically. Yeah. But
he kind of plays that mental.
But it's the mental game, and his abilities that also do cause like the physical chaos. But it's also still more of like that's his mind. Yeah. He is a very powerful mind person because he's moving shit with his head. Yeah. So that's, I'm like, fuck. And like, I will be the first person to admit I am very low level when it comes to Captain America comic book villains. Yeah. Like, I don't know a ton of them outside of Red Skull. Yeah. Right? Like, and Winter Soldier. Like, those are like the two that I really know, and really I only know them because of the movies, honestly. Like, so I'm like, it could totally be something or somebody that I don't know of, but part of me is like, I hope it's on a grander scale. And that Giancarlo Esposito is going to be a part of like a long-term thing with Marvel, because he's just such a great actor. True. You know, like I don't want it to be like a one-off like Mickey Rourke in fucking Iron Man 2. Sorry. Iron Man 2. I want it to be more like Thanos or a Loki, right? Yeah. Like a Loki where he was like a good bad guy, but a bad good guy. Yeah. And throughout multiple movies, throughout the entire run of Marvel so far. So that was one thing I wanted to talk about and just kind of bring up. And next, quick.
Got the Quiet Place Day 1. Yeah. That's now out in theaters.
It is now out. Came out,
I believe, last week.
I think it came out today.
Okay, yeah. No, I think you're right.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, it's out now in theaters. The trailer looks amazing. Yeah. Have you watched the trailer? Have you seen the other two?
I've seen the other two.
You have?
And the trailer and this movie is obviously a prequel.
It's a prequel to the first one. Yeah. Well, the first two. Yeah. Where the first one and then the second one was like a direct follow up to the first one. Now this one, it's a prequel. It's called Quiet Place Day 1. Yeah. And I think what is super intriguing about this is because it's the whole like, it's the very beginning of the invasion by the aliens that hunt by noise. Yeah. Right. They don't have eyes. They just hunt by noise.
And no one knows.
And nobody knows that. Yeah, nobody knows that. And it's in the big city. Yeah. That, I think, is the biggest thing where it's like, we haven't seen that yet in the franchises. It's in a very large populated area. Yes. So I'm super excited about that. And it has, I can never remember her full name, but the main actress in it was in, I'm pretty sure it's the same actress that was in, like, Us.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember her damn name. But then it has, why do we do this? He's gonna play the goddamn Human Torch in the Fantastic Four. Fuck me. Anyways, it has two people in it. That's a really good fucking description. Anyways, so
I think you're just saying you're excited.
I'm excited for the movie. The actors in it are great. John Krasinski is still involved in producing it. It is a different director. Yeah. But he still played a role in, I believe, writing it, and he's producing it. And yeah, the franchise all around is just great. I'm really excited for that.
I think in movie world where we're getting some of the same things over and over again. Quiet Place kind of changed that. It's not like the others, which is nice. It's fresh.
Yes.
It's a fresh take on the horror, thriller, sci-fi genre.
Absolutely.
So really excited about that one. Which brings us to another Marvel segment. I texted you not late, but yesterday. So this is a brand new topic. But there's a new podcast out there, the official Marvel podcast, and
which is super exciting.
Yeah, and Kevin Feige was a guest on that, and really dropped a few or confirmed some stories that were out there, and the one thing I really took away from that was the Fantastic Four, which he seems to be the most excited about.
Yes.
This is going to be a period piece set in the 60s, and some of the teaser photos they sent out, and fans kind of captured what it was talking about, but the New York cityscape in the second photo they released of the 4 logo is not of the New York that we know, the cityscape. And so I think that alludes that it's not in this universe or in this timeline that we know, which would allude to why they're not in the current MCU.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I think it's a really smart play as to be able to, like you just said, explain their absence from the first 5 phases of Marvel so far, right? So I think it's smart play on their part, and it's going to play somehow into them, like the whole Secret Wars thing in the not the next Avengers movie, but the one after that, where with the comic book storyline with that, it's like it's pulls characters from all these different universes to Battle Earth or whatever it is, and then they all fight it out or whatever. And I think that it'll be a good way for them to like introduce the Fantastic Four from a different universe, but then ends up essentially getting pulled into the main timeline.
Yeah.
So there's that. Also, last night, it was either last night or this morning, I still don't fully know which one it was, but sometime in the last 24 hours, they dropped a new Deadpool trailer, which just showed a little bit more of what's going on in the movie. Still not like a ton of info regarding the full all-around story and plot, which I like. The idea of like the TVA is trying to get Deadpool to help save the Sacred Timeline. That's still really the only details we have about that. Somehow along the way, Wolverine becomes important within that. But then I think the biggest takeaway from this was the inclusion of the OG Sabretooth.
Yep.
In it, from
X-Men 1.
The first X-Men movie in 2000. So yeah, it's the same actor playing the same character back now. They're in the void, and just that scene. He's like, wait, hold on, and he starts pulling his own. So Deadpool starts pulling the swords and knives out of Wolverine that he had stuck in, and it's like, you gotta look good for this. I just say that, and then he's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, oh my god, and go get him.
And again, I think Kevin Feige talked about it on this podcast, just how excited he is of this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. He's getting to work with Wolverine again, which he started with in the X-Men. He was part of those movies, so it's
that was his start to Marvel. Was on the X-Men.
Reuniting there, he's getting to bring in a very successful franchise of Deadpool into it, and maintaining what Deadpool is, R-rated, bloody, gory, expletives everywhere kind of movie. And then he alluded to more surprises from past projects, so maybe that's what he was alluding to, Sabretooth, but maybe there's more. All I can say is, I know we've talked about Deadpool, Wolverine in several of our 5 episodes so far. We're excited for it.
We are. I don't know that I've been this excited for a movie in a long time.
As
so
well
I
as
am very
I'm sure
excited for it.
any fan of the Marvel Universe is. So,
Yeah.
coming out in July.
July 26th.
Which brings us to
Our final segment
segment.
this. You posed this question, so...
Blockbusters question of the week. Looking back on movies, thinking back when we were in high school and school, movie quotes. I mean, we still talk in movie quotes. But
it's part of our DNA.
Movie quotes was just thrown around. There was just movie quotes in school all the time. And I guess the question is, do you think this is still happening? Do you think that's happening in school and because we're not in school, we're not seeing it? But you work in school. So maybe you are seeing this. So maybe you have more knowledge on this. But what was the most quotable movie for you growing up? Like, what were you hearing around the hallways? And then do you have a favorite of those?
Yeah, so to answer the first part of the question, I don't think this is actually still happening. I don't think it has the same kind of pull as it used to. And I to a point, I feel like the box office is kind of seeing that as well, where I feel like in certain regard, like those types of movies that were the most quotable, are raunchy comedies.
Yeah, I was gonna say
realistically, right? I was gonna say Hangover. It's the Anchormans. It's all those. I was gonna. And I don't feel like those movies are. I think there is a kind of a small focus group of a resurgence in the last year or two with a couple movies that have come out, and they're like, it's kind of trying to get back to that, but there is a lot of with some of the kind of social and political movements over the last decade that have kind of put those types of movies on a back burner kind of on a hiatus, because people are afraid to make that type of shit now because they're gonna get canceled or whatever the fuck. Which, go fuck yourself. But those movies are the fucking. It's what makes shit good, and that's what makes like comedy is comedy for a fucking reason. So I will die on that fucking hill. But I don't think it is currently happening. I feel like there aren't a lot of movies that have people just like living in the quotes from those movies like it did when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And then to get to the second thing, what were like the most quotable movies? I think Wedding Crashers is probably like the number one that comes to my mind as to like the most quotable.
I was gonna say
it's.
For me, it was Old School.
Old School's another one. Like there's so many. Anchorman. And you think about the commonalities between those. A lot of the same actors. Yeah. Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell, Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson, Ben Stiller. Like all those movies are very Step Brothers, Zoolander, Dodgeball. Like all of these movies that came out in that same time frame. Yeah. That realistically right now I don't know if they could be made the same way. Yeah. Like I think we are shifting again, which I think is good. Yeah. And I think like give it 5 years, they movies like that will be made again, I think. Yeah. But right now it just couldn't happen. So I think Wedding Crashers for me is like the most my favorite, if it's not Wedding Crashers, because like, me and Nathan have literally like we have spent time quoting that movie from like start to finish before. I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. But another one that really pops in my mind is Superbad. Yeah. Superbad is such a quotable fucking movie. Man, I gotta get a glimpse of these warlocks. There's just so many things in that movie that just make it so quotable. So like I think if I'm going to have two different answers for the two different questions, it would be Wedding Crashers for the most quotable and Superbad for my favorite.
Okay. Well, I think it's no secret me and your brother Nathan quoted Wedding Crashers to death, and so that would be my favorite. I think Anchorman Old School is probably the most quoted when I was in school. But yeah, Wedding Crashers, and I didn't even think of Superbad until but me and him quoted that to that too. So, but yeah,
big veiny triumphant bastard.
But Wedding Crashers for sure. To this day, it's the most times I've seen a movie in a movie theater was that movie.
Yeah.
Cleo and Roslyn Theater out there for them. Saw it in there multiple times, but yeah, Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, dude.
And with that concludes episode
That wraps
5.
Episode 5.
Cheers
to the Mint and Julep. Cheers to episode 5, and cheers to the Triple B podcast. Oh yeah, man.
Hell yeah, man.
Scene.